Have you ever wondered what it's like to run a business with a family member or even with your mom? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can imagine that scenario, but this episode is going to dive into the really inspiring journey of Danielle Sabrina, who has built a thriving agency alongside her seriously brilliant daughter, Morgan. And I just chatted with them. It was so interesting to hear about the unique dynamics of their partnership. And they really revealed both the challenges and the triumphs of working so closely together and with family. They also, Morgan's sister and Danielle's other daughter runs in the business. They unpack strategies for how they carved out their niche in the competitive tech and publishing industries. And Danielle offers insights into kind of figuring out how to scale the business, where to invest her time and her money and her energy. And I think this episode is just a must listen for anyone who's considering running a business with family, and also just really what it takes to scale to a major agency with, multiple seven-figure revenue. Danielle Sabrina is an award-winning celebrity publicist and the founder of Society 22, which is a top 10 national PR firm that's been on Inc.'s fastest growing companies and ranked 5 best company in America by Entrepreneur magazine. Woo! Danielle transformed her life trajectory from teenage mother and high school dropout to becoming one of the youngest traders on Wall Street at just 19 years old. And with a successful background in investment management, she's able to guide and support clients on their journey from seed round to IPO. And leveraging her expertise, Danielle helps her clients navigate really crucial brand decisions, helping them optimize strategies and provide insights that have fueled their growth and success. And she's really known for her media and brand strategy, the results-oriented reputation with over 25 years of experience. And that has helped her gain the trust of really high-profile CEOs, professional athletes, celebrities, and made her one of the most sought-after brand and media strategists. And she was also named Female Entrepreneur of the Year. She was also CIO's top 20 female entrepreneurs to follow, and Entrepreneur Magazine's expert mentor. And she also regularly contributes to Forbes, Fast Company, Rolling Stone, and several other publications. So they're going to chat about Society 22 PR, which is the only PR agency headed up by an internationally respected team of 20 plus years of experience that serves growth-minded clients with a modern take on effective PR in the global marketplace so they can scale their businesses through increased exposure, strategic partnerships, and marketplace recognition. So simply put, Society 22 PR puts companies on the map so they can go from best kept secret to household names. And in an era of kind of tired PR practices that are no longer working in this fast-paced, internet-driven, connections-oriented culture, they have created a formula that hits it out of the park every single time. So tune in right now while I chat with Danielle Sabrina and her incredible daughter, Morgan, about how they've been able to scale Society 22 so quickly. I hope you enjoy our chat. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Pitching Powerhouse. I am so excited because today I have Danielle Sabrina and her beautiful daughter, Morgan, with me. And together they run an incredibly successful agency, and they help experts, that's their specialty, authors, tech innovators, to amplify their presence. And I'm really excited to dive into this conversation today because, as you know, totally different niche than mine. And just welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. You're so nice for having this platform. I think what you're doing for your community is amazing. It's so hard to find support out there as a publicist or an agency owner. So I really like that you're bringing the whole community together and giving them so many resources so no one feels alone. It's agency life is no joke, as you know, and you're
No
listening
joke.
to. Like, it can be a lot. So yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And I appreciate you saying that. It's just kind of that feeling of, you know, how can I help this community? I just got off another call with someone who's like, I'm just here to support and serve, and that's what I want to do. And I love that. My whole goal is supporting women like us, you know, with families, kids, being able to have a career, make great money, and do it on our terms. I cannot imagine having my offspring help me run this business, but I also have boys and they're younger. But when I met you two, I was like, oh, this is a duo. Like, we have to get into it and talk and like hear your stories. So, and it's funny because my husband introduced us. He met you through like a really incredible networking organization where he's met some incredibly down-to-earth, driven, successful people. And he was like, she's blowing me away with how impressive she is. You have to meet her. So, and then I met you and you're like the most down-to-earth. And you're like, this is my beautiful daughter. And we run a business together. And I'm like, let's get on the show. So to start off, can you share a bit about your background and kind of what led you to start your own agency?
I just fell into an agency. I didn't even know, I'm not going to like go too far back because it's like such a long story, but I feel like I've lived a lot of lives, and that kind of brought me to the point where I was writing for the publications myself, just putting myself out there as my own brand. I was starting to develop my own brand. This was a little bit before personal branding was a thing. So I was just trying to find like how to do it, what this even meant. There weren't a lot of resources out there. But I was able to write for the publications, which is not an easy task to do. Like, it's really hard to learn how to write articles that get accepted by top tier publications.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. And then I was helping my clients do it because I was getting clients from it. And everyone, you know, you kind of like when you start getting press on yourself, you start to become a little bit of like a local celebrity. You know, people are like, oh my gosh, like they know of you, they've heard of you. It just starts changing your life. Like, and I really saw that press can just change the trajectory of your business, but your life, like it opens up doors that nothing else can open up.
Yeah.
So then I started helping my clients with it. And I had a friend who was in PR, and I was, you know, we're just sharing what we did. And she's like, well, what you're doing is PR. And I said, okay, well, say less. I called my client the next day. I was like, listen, I have good news and bad news for you. I said, the good news is you're getting PR and your business is about to change. The bad news is it's significantly more than you're paying me. So you're getting a new invoice. But he was like, I don't care because this is great and I want to stay on. And then I think like most people who get into PR that haven't had like an agency background, you know, you start off as a freelancer.
Yeah.
And then you go as far as you can, and you can only take on so many clients, and you might get like a contractor or another freelancer to help you. But it's really, really hard to get from that place to a full-blown agency, in my opinion. It's like, you know, to be able to balance like true overhead with, then you have to worry about lead gen and sales and marketing and admin and HR and stuff that you never had to worry about before. And then training, you know, because it's like, people don't know how to pitch. So you have to be able to train them, and you don't have the time because you're managing clients. It's just like this weird space. So that's what I always see with PR, and that I think is difficult for people. And I feel like now that I've gone through it, and I know we're not like totally going down this road yet, but I think just be really like, my advice, because there's a lot of bad experiences in PR. And it's when brands, in my opinion, go to somebody who is like a freelancer, maybe putting out there that they have more experience or more capabilities than they do, and they're charging agency prices. And then that client has a bad experience because you can't always deliver as one person. Yeah. So I think you can build a really successful freelance business with just stay within your lane. I think it's really good. It's less stress. Your clients will stay longer. Like those, you know, you get them more money up front charging agency prices, but you're only going to keep them for 3 to 6 months. Right. At the most. You're not going to be able to have the longevity that you'll have. You know, there's obviously like scenarios that's not the case, but
Yeah, well, I mean, you're speaking my language because that's exactly what the agency accelerator is about, is really giving a successful roadmap for creating an agency that will sustain long-term contracts, being intentional with the decisions you make in the clients you bring on so that it's all stepping stones towards bigger clients, being able to deliver on the results that they're looking for, keeping clients happy and in the door, because it isn't the same as just being a freelancer, maybe having one team member and calling yourself an agency, but having a true strategy, being able to deliver, being able to scale, hire the right team. So that's what the agency accelerator is, because when I started the same as you, there were not any resources. And when you said that, right. Yeah. And so that's why we create them, so that we can help people figure that out in a strategic way to make them more money faster. And to be able to be with their families and do it in a way that supports the work-life integration. And speaking of families, Morgan's right there. What inspired the decision to bring her into the business? How has that mother-daughter dynamic influenced the agency's operations? Morgan, what's your experience working with mom? Your colleague. So it's like a different, relationship when you're at work. But
yeah. Well, I started, so my mom basically was like, I need some help. Can you just come in and help out? And I was like, absolutely. So I came in and I helped out and just kind of learned the whole PR landscape, learned how to pitch, learned how to do everything you do on a day to day. And then I think over time, I started to see this opportunity where we could start growing into a more formal, bigger agency. And so the conversations moved away from what's the best story narrative for my client to kind of like, how can we actually grow this into a large scale firm that's not your boutique agency with just three of us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Morgan who, so I feel like I was able to take the agency as far as I could, really, or as far as I wanted to on my own. And it wasn't until Morgan was able to step in and started restructuring everything, because she was just always a go-to for the background, kind of like whatever, if we needed someone on a client, she could be on a client. If we needed someone handling bookkeeping, she could handle that. Like whatever it was, she could just move around. But she's always been our entire family, so my family and her dad's side of the family many of us are like either just like solo business owners, or we all have like a small business or family business, most of us anyway. Mm-hmm. And so she's always been around a lot of conversations. Her and her sister, she's also in the agency, my other daughter. But I always brought them to a lot of conferences. Like they went to Forbes on Fifth when they were like 14 and 15 years old. They went to a women's it was an editorial brainstorming session with Forbes women. Wow. And I brought them to like NLP conferences. They they met Gary Vee when they were like 12. Like they've always been very integrated and involved in anything I've been involved in. And I've owned other businesses. They worked inside. I used to own retail stores that were like these retail, like boutique cosmetic type vibe. Mm-hmm. They would work in the store, not like formally, but it's like if we're working, they're there after school, they're like doing inventory, they're like doing stuff. So I think having so much like in the background, and it just comes very naturally to her. So she's more behind the scenes, but she was the one that scaled us to the point where we made Inc.'s fastest growing company list.
Amazing.
We're now in a position where we are on track to hire 2 new publicists every month.
Wow.
Which is a lot. It's a lot. So
yeah. So we just onboarding them and training them and finding them. Where are you finding the best team members? Because I know our audience is going to ask me.
We're in LA. So we are we are an in-house team. We work in office together as a team. I think that's really important. I know that like we were virtual after the pandemic or during that, and for a while after, and it changed the game with us it's a big increased expense, but it literally changed the whole, like our trajectory. It changed our business. It changed how we're delivering for clients. overall, like it's just been amazing. I highly, highly recommend it. It's a big investment, but I recommend it.
Yeah. And where are you finding? So they're all local, but where are you finding the best people? Are you putting out job on LinkedIn?
So what I did is I think it's really hard to get into PR. So when you put out a job posting, you're going to get thousands of just quick submits.
Yes.
But at the bottom of our job post, I put a link there and I say, if you're actually interested in this job, click this link and then do like a little application. It's nothing robust. It's literally just name, link to your resume, what role you're applying for and how long you've been doing it for. Just kind of weeds out the people who aren't actually reading through the description, who aren't actually even paying attention to anything. Yeah. And then from there, we take the spreadsheet and then we kind of just select
pick and choose.
But it's so much easier because if you put something on LinkedIn, we literally will get thousands of applicants.
Thousands.
So I can't go through every single one of these people.
Yeah. And our training program is like off the hook. We can take someone fresh out of college, or someone with no PR experience, if they're the right person, within a week, they're landing TV, Bloomberg, like high level media hits. So our candidate pool is we love to hire someone that has at least an internship, but we are so open to molding just the right candidate that they have been some of our best hires. They are like our rock stars.
So you're hiring more for personality, values, culture fit, attitude, and then you're saying we can give them. So instead of undoing bad habits, you're finding the right fit and then training them on your secret sauce, your approach, and you get to mold them into your perfect PR publicist avatar. That's awesome.
They're getting people on TV. You know how long it took me to land a client on TV? Like, are you kidding me? Like they're getting that, and like that's the kind of like I'm seeing media hits that like I just have not in my whole career seen that fast, or even freelancers ever sometimes be able to get, unless it was some type of like high profile client or something. But these are clients that are like in the B2B space, or they're just like, they don't have a big brand. They're not anything. They're not even known, but they might be like an expert in their field. So we also have very difficult clients too. So it's not like not every client is just like, that dream client where they have their brand built and they're a cult favorite, and it's like just handing them opportunities to the press.
Yeah. And speaking of, so you have your niches with authors, experts, individuals in the tech space, like I mentioned. What are some of your strategies that you've implemented that have really helped you become so profitable and like the go-to agency in these really competitive fields?
We have very high KPIs. So our expectation and the way we do our pitch processes, I think is like, it's not even like a strategy for the client. It's our back office. It's our back end. So we have a very structured process that every single publicist follows. It's like a mix of like that old school, like pitch meeting where like everyone has to pitch their headline and then they get, then like, okay, sure. Go write the story, go write the pitch, mixed in with like a lot of technology. That's like, okay, analyzing why didn't the journalist open the pitch? Did they click on it? How many times? Like what is the open rates? Like even more advanced than like your typical like email marketing metrics. So I would say even 10 years ago, we were heavily investing in AI and technology. Like we were pulling together tech stacks that were like, I've never seen before, because I grew my brand very quickly and I'm like, I need to do this at scale. So we go about things in a way that's like high volume amounts of press. So we're not just like, we're getting some of our clients, have like 10 pieces of media coming out this month.
And we're not talking about press releases.
No,
everyone knows it's press release syndication.
No, these are like TV. This is like print. This is
real,
real media. And that's moving. And so one of the things that we look at is like their traffic. Like, is their website traffic going up? Are they landing deals? Our clients have landed multi-million-dollar deals from our press pieces. Like our proof on the ROI side is so rock solid that, to be honest, if we wanted to, we could really charge any price we want.
Because you can support it with that.
Our ROI is that's one of the hardest things to quantify. Yeah. But if you're following the business and you know what's going on in the business and you're having these conversations and you're getting the right brand awareness out for your client and they are doing their job, their companies absolutely will take off. There's no way it won't. And if they don't, it's a branding issue. It's an internal issue. It's something else happening.
Mm-hmm. And you're able to pinpoint that with all of the data you can leverage and analyze.
And just like I could have a conversation and know what's going on with a client. Like there's, like I've just been doing this for so long too. And I'm very passionate about business. It's not that I'm so passionate about press. I'm so passionate about business and growing businesses. And that's the same for Morgan, is she's just really passionate about business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a very analytical processes person in my head. So I don't know, it makes it easy to kind of
Good
figure
for
out.
you. It'll never be me. That's not how my brain thinks at all.
But okay, and the book that everyone needs to read, if you guys haven't read this yet, is The Who, Not How by Dan Sullivan. Like,
okay.
I swear by anytime I go to do something, I'm like, am I the right person to be doing this? It's the who, not how. And you continuously to make sure you don't stay in the weeds, because the longer you stay in the weeds, the slower it's going to be to grow your business.
Yes.
And I apply that philosophy to everything in my life. If I could outsource getting out of bed, I would.
Yes.
Like I would literally come pick me up out of bed, carry me to the kitchen, and give me my coffee. Like that's the level, but that is what you need to be thinking as a business owner. Yeah. And if you get stuck in the like, I can't afford this, like, boom, you got to work on your money mindset then.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't afford not to. It's like buying back your time and really like saving. I just did a podcast on this that released today. It's just really about like less of you equals more money, because you're freeing up your time to work on the business, on the things that are your zone of genius that you love doing, that come easy to you, like analytics and processes like Morgan loves to do, storytelling, positioning, understanding the tie-in with PR and the business that's so comes naturally to you, that you free up your time for like the drudgery zone stuff to somebody that's like, ooh, I love doing that. Let me, pay me and I'll take it off your plate. And you're like, every time, please. Yes, do it. All done. Yeah. That's a big lesson. I love that recommendation. So we'll put it in the show notes. The Who, Not How by Dan Sullivan. Thanks for that recommendation.
It's a quick read. It's so fast. Like it's not a heavy read at all, but it's one of those things. Like if you just keep it in the back of your mind, always, you'll remember to get out of the weeds.
Can you share a bit about, let's say, like, what are the highs and lows, the pros and cons that you've experienced with your agency, or like you've had multiple businesses that you've run and you've really like leaned into this one as the future of your career, like you're really building into this one. So now that you're like all in on your business, what are some of the kind of highs, lows, the pros and cons that you've experienced with your agency?
I mean, the highs are high and the lows are low. Like, after a while, I think what I've learned in the last couple of years, and it's only really been in the last couple of years, is like really I'm working, and currently too, like there's still a lot of triggers for me, is retraining my nervous system to not be as affected by like because you can, with agency life, it's like you can just have a couple clients leave, and that can be like $300,000 to $500,000 a year that all of a sudden is gone within that email open. Like you can forget what's in your contracts. Let's be real. Like, and sometimes things just happen with your clients. And if they've been a client for years and something happens with them, you're not going to be a jerk. Like I'm not.
Yeah. You got to let them. Yeah. Like I'm a partner to you. Problem. Yeah.
Because they wouldn't do it unless it was like needed. And sometimes that just happens. Sometimes all of a sudden they decide they get up in the morning and they said, we're going to get acquired. And they want to
survive that, or
or you want to get the most money possible. So they're looking to get every single expense off their sheet, so their EBITDA as high as possible.
Yep.
And there's just things that happen. And so being able to simultaneously build your pipeline, maintain your business, and ride these like, influxes, because it's like it's really hard to project what's happening revenue wise. Because you can't rely on even your oldest accounts, because you just never know when something's going to happen. So, the great things are, for me, I get to work with my family, and we have an amazing dynamic, and her sister isn't on the call, but she's equally as like she did our whole brand. She leads a lot of our publicists, helps with pitches. She's very creative. The team is always like, she's such a core pillar of our culture. Like she really holds our culture together. You know, it balances out Morgan and I, who are really more on the like growth and like, what are we doing next? And like, what's going on over here? You know, we're just always kind of making sure things are staying in shape. But it's just, business is hard. And I don't think anybody needs to like, it's okay. I feel like everything right now is like, be an entrepreneur. But like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. Like you can be a really successful freelancer. You can also build a business with someone else. You can get into sales and make pretty much the same amount of money as you're going to make as a business owner if you want to, you know, like by the time what we take home, there's like a lot of different avenues. So I think that like be in it to win it if you are. And if not, like, you know, just like work with an agency. Just be like, I'm going to work over here on the side rather than try. Cause I see a lot of freelancers who are like trying to own their own business and they go from like, okay, we have a few people, then they lose a bunch of clients and they have to let everybody go. And then they're back to being on their own, trying to figure out their next move. And it's like, that just being an entrepreneur just like might not be the right thing for you.
It's not for everyone. Yeah. It's definitely not for everyone. I think that that's the benefit of what I offer to the people who work with me, because they just want to pitch the media, tell stories, write, you know, be with their families, get paid and not have to chase down money and, you know, not deal with the ebbs and flows. And we absorb that risk and we absorb the client service headache and the sort of you know, ebbs and flows of retainer agreements or clients leaving early or whatever. And our team gets paid no matter what, you know. So if I have a client, I have to chase them down and may or may not get paid. The team doesn't have to worry about that. So for a lot of people, that's very appealing because they've moved into motherhood. They want to be with their kids. They're super sharp, have great experience from working at an agency. And they want to stay working and like provide for their families, but do it on their terms. And you're right. Like running an agency is not always the goal. And so there are levels of like how you can pursue a career like ours and, you know, go for like, let's say for you, looking ahead, you know, 3 to 5 years with your business and maybe new markets, new services, like you're going for it. And I want to hear what you're, you know, and some people are like, I'm cool. Like I'm at a place where I'm like, revenue is good. I like my workload. Clients leave me alone. My team does a great job and it's all humming along and it's great, but I don't want to take over the world because I just don't have it in me at this point, you know? So I bet you do. So I want to hear, you know, 3 to 5 year plan. Where do you kind of see your business growing, you know, new markets, more of leveraging AI for not just your internal support and structure, but for clients, client work, ethically, of course, you know, for pitching, we're not using AI other than maybe a little idea generation, but not writing pitches. What other services, like, how do you see your business evolving?
The only services that I could see us evolving into, and honestly, our business changes so fast, so quickly. Like I could say this today, and by the time it publishes, like we could already be on a new thing. I mean, I personally would love to get into full advertising because I really have a passion for that. I absolutely love advertising. I'm always thinking of these like advertising campaigns and things.
Like, are you talking creative or media buying, media planning, all of the above? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think like all of the above. Like, I would love to be able to, you know, launch a full campaign for a brand or maybe incubate new brands, build their brand and then launch them. That has been some things that we've discussed before. I think over the next 3 to 5 years, though, like no matter what, I think we're going to really be focused on like continuing to build our agency and solidifying the foundation and giving more opportunities to our like team who has been on this like rough ride with us in the beginning. But if I'm not growing, I'm dying, and who, not how. Those are like the two things. I always come back to those two things, like personally, professionally. That's like kind of like the compass for me.
Yeah. What about you, Morgan? Is there anything that you can kind of see like with your analytical mind and you maybe see these opportunities in the market? Like we really need to go in this direction because the opportunity like leverages our expertise and what we know how to do so well. Like, are you thinking of things in that regard?
I mean, I'm always kind of thinking of a bunch of different opportunities that are out there. I mean, we can really go in several different directions. I think for me, what I would like to really see ourselves doing is probably expanding bigger on the New York side. And by doing that, I want to be like probably acquiring another agency
Boots on the
East
ground.
Coast,
Yeah.
because I don't want to
Buy
have
it, not build it. Yeah.
yeah, building the way that we've just built these last few years has been really tough. And like, I don't know, I think I would like to just acquire something that that's already started, already has a structure in place. I can help come in and mold it to be a little different if needed.
Well, we already work with an M&A advisor on looking for agencies for us. And we've already gone through our process on our side to be able to prepare us to buy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. Well, as you know, my husband's an M&A advisor, not in that regard, but
I met him after.
Yeah, no, I mean, he probably wouldn't have been. He's usually on the sell side. But I just I know exactly like the process from every side of that, just watching him go through these deals and advising companies on how to best represent themselves. Like you said, like cutting costs and making the agency look more profitable, more attractive, more streamlined. Anybody that's interested in building some asset like we have an agency, it's hard because they tend to be so tied to us as the founders. You have to set your business up. This is different than you because you would be on the buy side. But for anyone looking to sell, you have to create processes and systems, what Morgan's doing in your business, to be able to pull yourself out and the thing still runs without a hiccup. So it's like getting your business not so tied to the founder that you absolutely have to stay on board or the whole thing falls apart.
No, we worked with, I don't know if you know who Allison Maslin is. She's the founder of Pinnacle Global. Yeah, we work with Pinnacle on like really focusing on creating that self-managed company. And I think that's another thing is like working with the people who have already done it. And we have so many coaches and advisors. Like we work with a company, a mastermind, just strictly in our sales. We work with closers. We work with Cole Gordon. We work with, Allison with Pinnacle. Like we really segment and take the time. Like if Morgan and I aren't running the business, we are literally at a mastermind or with one of our coaches. Mm-hmm. And we're working, and it's multiple too. Like you really have to like go to the experts.
Yeah.
So that's what I think has been really instrumental for us over the last year to have been able to grow as fast as we have is we're investing in ourselves at another level. Like we're investing to the point where we're like, ouch, where are we going to come up with that?
But you see the ROI on an investment like that. And what I just want to reiterate for our audience listening that you're continuing to invest in yourself, which means you really have a growth mindset and you're lasering in on specific areas of need and seeking out the best to coach you in that thing. Yes. And that's majorly time consuming and it's major investment. However, you see this as an investment in the long run in your business, in your professional acumen in so many different areas that are so important, like sales, like systems and processes. So you can build a machine, that can run whether you get acquired for hundreds of millions of dollars because you have built this so strategically. And these coaches and masterminds, you're not saying, I know everything and I'm cool, I'm good. Or I got one business coach who's a business coach and maybe not even an agency coach and you're just taking general advice and being like, cool, I got it. You're literally like, I want to be the best closer. It's not even all of sales, closing. Like every single like integral piece, you have a coach for that. And I have to say that's rare because not a lot of people have the time, bandwidth, the financial resources, but you have a bigger vision. And I think it just speaks volumes that you're coachable and you want to learn as much as you can from the best so that you can be the best.
Well, it's prioritization too. Like you prioritize that and you find the time. If you do, it's getting a grip on like what's going on and what's important to you. What is it that you want? And you don't have to be on the same growth path that we're on. That's not, like, it's not the only path. It's just, I want to building a business is really hard. So I want as many shortcuts as possible. Because I would really like to use our energy for the things that like we have no choice but to use our energy for. Like, I don't want to have to try to like figure something out that someone can already, and you don't want to listen. Morgan's really good about like every entrepreneur needs a Morgan. That's what I'm saying. Like she will reel you in, get you back down to reality and tell you exactly what it is. Like our clients, like that's what they're always like, can I hire Morgan to coach? Like always for her.
So it's like you're resetting if they're like shiny object syndrome or I want this, you're like first this, then this, and you're kind of redirecting them towards what's likely to happen, what's more realistic. Like how does that come in the coaching of the clients? What are you doing to
entrepreneurs tend to see like way down the line. And I'm like, okay, that's a great vision and we can definitely get there. But we're here right now and we need to do this, and this and that to even get us halfway there. So let's focus on these things right now.
Yeah.
Remember that end vision is the goal, but like we can't skip all these steps because if we do, that goal is never going to get hit.
Yeah.
I think that's why our clients have grown so much too, because you attract the clients that you are, right? So if you're investing in yourself, if you're paying your invoices on time, if you're cutting big checks, you're going to get big checks cut to you. Yeah. You're going to get invoices paid on time.
This is money mindset stuff, you guys.
Yeah, literally basics. And I think that I attract a lot of people that I mirror in my own like craziness, that I always have all these grand ideas, like I will always want to run in all these different directions. Like, let's do TV, let's do this, let's do all these things. And so I attract those types of founders. And when Morgan came and really like took over the publicity side of things and oversaw everything, she restructured everything in a way that gave so many amazing boundaries to the clients. But I don't even like to call them boundaries because that word feels like, I don't like the word. Yeah. And it also just feels like someone's like overstepping something, and that's not what it is. So it's really like she created all this structure.
Guardrails, maybe.
Yeah. Guardrails that kept our clients in line, which has forced them to focus on what they need to focus on. And I was just doing a calculation the other day because we were rewriting our website copy. The average growth of our clients after working with us for a year is almost 2,000%. And those numbers I was able to calculate based on real revenue numbers from them. Wow.
That's a stat you put on your homepage of your website.
Yeah, that's what I had. Well, our copywriters were like, can you get me this stat? And I'm like, sure. Because a lot of our clients, like we have their financials and stuff because we help them submit for awards. But yeah, I'm not surprised because a lot of their biggest deals have come from our press. Like it has literally changed. Like they've sold their companies, they've gone public, they've had very successful IPOs or like, multi-million dollar, just one deal. Like we've had tech companies get into massive tech stacks of like Walmart, Lowe's, Wayfair, like you name it. Like that's huge. Those can be like $100 million contracts plus.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
And like recurring revenue too, if it's SaaS and things like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wildly.
So that's what like Morgan created because of always having to deal with me.
Explain that a little bit just by.
Because I'm always like running a million different directions. Like it can be hard to work with me because I'm very like,
You're the visionary.
The clients all excited about things, and I'm like, stop! Now they're gonna want to go do this, and then now they're gonna get like decision paralysis or something, and then they're not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
So you're the visionary, and Morgan is the integrator, the like, realistic. Like these are great ideas, but you got to build up to it. We're putting it on the back burner. We'll revisit Q4, like whatever the process is. For both of you, I'd love to hear what advice you might give to someone that's looking to start their own agency or take their business to the next level. You have shared so much great advice in just our discussion, great advice along the way, but just like a kind of like tie a bow and a nice little, but I feel like you're going to be like, no, I'm going to keep it real. There's no bow on this. I'm going to talk like this is going to be legit and real advice, So what would you recommend to people?
I think the biggest thing for me, so like when I was coming into the agency and kind of taking over everything on the operational side, like there was many conversations where I'd be like, Mom, like you got to just like give me the reins and like back off and like I've got this. And like I think that, and I struggle with that with people underneath me too now. So I guess what I'm saying is if you're trying to get to the next level and you have like one or two people, like there, you do need to just like give some trust. And that doesn't mean like give them the reins of like your revenue and all of that stuff by any chance, but you do have to kind of pull back a little bit in order to allow people under you that you're training to actually take something and run with it. And if you don't give them that space to do that, they're not going to be able to go to bring you to where you're trying to go and what you hired them to do in the first place.
Yeah, great advice there. How about you, Danielle?
I would say, I mean, agency life is really tough. And I would be like, why are you looking to start an agency? Did you do this for yourself first and foremost? I would, like if you want to start a social media company, like crush it yourself on social so you know what that's like and you know what it takes to build. Same thing with PR, same thing with anything else. And it's also okay. Like you don't need to be a whole agency. Like get really clear on what it is that you want to be. And you don't need to have like, make sure you can be really successful. Like we refer people to freelancers all the time. Like sometimes people just come, I'm like, you need to be with a freelancer. There is a niche for that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when they want to start an agency, they just want to appear so much bigger than they are. And by doing that, you will absolutely compromise revenue. And you think in your mind, you're not going to because you're going to attract the clients you want, but you absolutely will compromise revenue because any client that is going to hand you over the kind of money that is like agency money is going to be able to sniff out you're not it. Or they're going to know or if they do end up working with you, it's going to be really stressful. So then that's going to be hard for you to create money because you're not going to be in the right mindset for it. And you're not going to even have any type of you're not going to have any energy left to be going out there networking and meeting new people because you're going to be all on the execution side. So I'm a big fan of just like presenting yourself exactly who you are. You will attract the clients that want to work with a freelancer. Like just build yourself up and then you've got to there's not a lot of agency resources out there. So I would highly recommend learning very basic stuff. Like obviously go through your accelerator if they're looking to do PR and get some of the basic stuff down because that will give you some confidence to navigate the problems that come along the way. Where if you really are screwing up a big brand, you're responsible for their brand and they could come after you. If you do some, especially on the PR and comm side, if you mess up and you cause their brand an issue, if you cost them revenue, they absolutely can and will come after you. You're the agency of record. There's significance there.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, in my contract that's in the agency accelerator, we limit that we do, but it doesn't mean that they're going to not pursue it, because they could point to some other breach or misrepresentation or whatever. But
you want it in your contracts, but I'm just saying there is and you shouldn't be responsible for an entire brand image if you're not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. This isn't a fake it till you make it kind of business.
No.
It's not. You cannot step into that. There's learning and growth and steps. Like Morgan would love the steps you have to take to get to the next level. And so, that's really helpful. And just I have to say, it's so awesome to see your relationship. And I was really taken with your just support of each other and really seeing your unique characteristics and how they fit into this business that you've built. And you've really leveraged your sweet spot, both of you, and you find a way to really work together. And it's hard. Mother-daughter relationships are complicated. They are complicated. And you guys are coworkers and confidants. And it's just really, I think, been one of the keys to your success because it's very rare and it's very special to see. So
thank you. Yeah. I feel we're so lucky. I'm what I'm most I feel no matter what comes after this, we already made it. So
yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for spending time with me today and chatting. We're throwing up heart signs if you're listening to the podcast, the Taylor Swift, just nothing but love. And I'm so impressed with you guys. And I really think you've added so much value. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
All
you're
right,
the best,
guys.
Jen. Thanks for supporting everyone in the PR space.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Thank you, guys.